This panel I'm super excited about because I feel as if I'm one of those younger generation that sees the world a bit differently. And to my right, I have two very interesting characters, one being from the UAE. Given that the UAE's birthday is coming up soon and it's 52 years old, there's a lot of stories still to be told here in the UAE and more to come. And then further to my right, we have an 8th generation family whose dynasty has been around for a few hundred years. So we have the tales of two of, I would call it the next gen, talking about how they see the world. So I think the first question that we all want to hear, which is quite obvious, is I'd probably start with Ahmed, given that his family are here to support him as well, which is really nice. As the next generation of your family, how do you envision taking forth, the legacy of the Al Nawais name, and how do you envision the next 10 years for the family?
As a first, second generation family office, as Al Nawais Group, it's a very diversified company. We're into a lot of different sectors, but what my vision is for the next 10 years or 20 years, let's say, I see we still have the same core business, but we can always add new bloodline in the new blood, for example, new ideas in the company. We can always improve it and expand our knowledge and gain more experience. And where I see myself in the next 10 years is established.
Yeah.
Established and well-oriented here.
Yeah.
And I really see, we always, as Al Nawais Group, we always think about it, as a family business. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we all have, I have 8 brothers and sisters, so they're all, at the end of the day, they're all going to join and be on board with Al Nawais Group.
And I guess to jump in quickly before we move over to Jonathan is obviously, given that the country is still young, the Al Nawais family is a large footprint in the UAE. And obviously you're the next generation that wants to preserve that. So more specifically, what did you learn from Dad and your parents? And then how are you now taking that learning and what are you looking to achieve with that?
Okay, I'll tell you my experience, what I learned from my dad. When I joined Al Nawais Group, I was attending meetings with my dad and going with him wherever he goes. But I learned that while attending these meetings with him, I didn't even say anything. I just introduced myself as a part of Al Nawais Group, and that's it. I just listen to him and see how he talks about it and how he introduced himself. And that's how I learned from him. That's how I understand how I can tell you I took his personality and joined and put it into mine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I learned from my dad, and I got very strong connections from him as well. And I learned about how we can do business here and how we can always, So it's all business-oriented family. So we're always, I'm always eager to learn more, and getting more experience, and getting new innovation technologies, and I'm always willing to expand this Anyways Group.
Very good. Well, let's hear from Jonathan, because Jonathan, as I told you, most families, dynasties don't live past 3rd generation, supposedly, but Jonathan's now into the 8th generation, coming from Luxembourg. So Jonathan, how would you value the future, and how do you see the next generation of taking that 8th generation to the 9th generation?
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting, because when I grew up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about family values as well, a lot of it gets ingrained through you from in the beginning of principles like hardworking, principles like, build out your own initiatives first before you start working, through and with the family. And a lot of those have been established not just by myself, into myself, but also with my father, with my grandfather, and so on and so forth. We can keep going for 8 times that way. And it's very similar to what you're seeing here in some of the families that are growing up here now. We're similar, building out those values as core and principles. That's number one. Number two is then and that's just on the family value side through the family members. But then secondly is just even the family structure or the fund structure and trust structure is very much about putting gates of milestones that any member has to accomplish and any principal has to accomplish, albeit education, albeit being productive towards society, whether it's building a company or building out initiatives in terms of things such as philanthropy, and then hitting also certain ages, and being able to doing that, to then finally taking over the torch and saying, okay, now we're going to look at the next generation. I don't really think about it in terms of the next 10 years. The next 10 years is a very short timeline. It really is about the next generation, the generation after that, something that's been preserved for so long. How do we build out that? And not just with well-established structures, but then also looking at a highly technological world now in a family office that is not that, because it's so old. How do you move that? And that's some of the principles that I am going to try and instill as we get through the next.
Very good. And it's, I think, because of that different outlook, let's take where we're sitting today in the UAE. I mean, I'm assuming, Dad would have made a lot of the dynasty from real estate, oil and gas exposure, other types of industrials, really the core infrastructure of this country. So it's kind of like, so you have that foundation, and what are you next building on top of that foundation to keep the Al Nuwais dynasty going? Because you're obviously young, and I know you'll be into technologies. I know that you're going to be into impact investments, given we've got COP28 coming. So what's now exciting you for the next few years ahead? Technologies, other types of things.
Okay, that's a very interesting question because my passion is in the agriculture sector, and I'm working heavily in agriculture, to be honest, and it's one of my passion, and I want this. It's like growing your own child. So I want this company to be a very strong company, to be a very strong leader in the region, to handle. What my project is about is I'm gonna do it. It's like let's say I'm gonna do it greenhousing. Okay, the project it's gonna be greenhousing. It's gonna cover the region, and it's the UAE target. They want sustainability for their community. So that's what I will provide. That's what I'm trying to do. And as you may know, Al Nuwais Group is already diverse. So I am gaining a lot of experience, not just in one sector. I'm gaining experience in oil and gas sector, agriculture, and construction, security. So I am getting not just one experience. I'm getting into different sectors experience as well.
But are you going into those industries? Let's say you go into real estate. Are you looking at technologies? Are you saying, I'm looking at an existing business line that we have as a family, and now I want to customize it. Now I want to add technology. Now I want to make it more efficient. I want to cut cost. Are you doing that as well as, I heard that you're now starting to look at China, which is new for the Al Nuwais Group. You're big in the UAE and KSA, but where did China come from, for example?
Well, my father already went to China, and he's seen the business there. So he's considering to expand there as well. But at the moment, we're even, we're not just in KSA and UAE. We're all over, because we are doing business all over the country, Middle East. Hospitality is one of the biggest sector here that we have. And we're even expanding in Africa for the energy sector. And we always want to challenge ourselves. We're not, okay, we are challenging ourselves, but we do it by, step-by-step process. We don't like to go with full-based and cover it.
And Jonathan and I mean, let's say, I know Jonathan, you're in Singapore, but let's say we're back in Luxembourg, I'm in the UK. We would have never heard of a UAE family expanding their business into Europe. It's something that we just hadn't been normal. So I'm feeling as if over the next generation, you're taking the family name to Europe, to the US, to Africa, to Asia, because it's the next step for the family. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct, yes.
Brilliant. So let's go now over to Jonathan. So, Jonathan, I would call you a very successful tech entrepreneur. I mean, looking back at your existing families, given that a lot of tech wasn't the way it was today, I mean, the key company that you're a co-founder of, I mean, how is that going to play a role with the family office and how you kind of take that dynasty forward?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I mean, obviously, I think my interests are somewhat given away by the company that I'm running. I think for me, it was very much about, and still is to date, about building something that I can say I've built that. That is my legacy. And this is just the first of what will be many. Right? I think that is number one. It's not necessarily about integrating the company into the family. I think we look at that a little bit different. Just as a family, we look at building out our own experiences, then learn on how to build investment theses for the family and building that structure. When I look at what my other family members have done, my aunt was a very well-known surgeon. My dad built shipping companies. A lot of it was about building something up and then bringing in the learnings into the family of taking that forward. Now, if I were to take in those learnings from what I've learned so far, a lot of it is about expanding outside of Europe. A lot of what we do is Europe-based. It's a very European, Luxembourg family from that perspective. And it's really about, okay, there are a lot of opportunities outside. We need to, and we should, explore those and build out those international synergies. And, this is one step of it. My building the technology company, that's one part of it. One.
And I guess you're moving to the UAE, right? You're moving your life here, which is obviously going to make Ahmed smile because he feels as if, everybody's coming this way, which is great, more business for us, right? And it's amazing to hear that, look, you're trying to build something for the family, which seems like it could be in agriculture. Today, we've got one of the co-founders of Pure Harvest here, one of the most successful companies in the UAE, or the most successful startup. So we know the potential for some of these companies. So look at Jonathan, okay? So what you're saying is you want to build a company like that then will add to the Al Nawais family for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that dream.
Look, Al Nawais Group is always going to be a part of me. Course, because it's already established country here in the UAE.
Yes.
It's already established company, so that's why we are already expanding outside the UAE. Because we're already established and we know what to do here. It's our market, it's our place. We know what to do because we're already well connected with the government and well connected with all the big industries here. So it's already established here, but that's why we are considering in expanding KSA and expanding to China, because it's going to be a new challenge for us. A new challenge, but it's not gonna be. We're not gonna do it all together at once. We're focusing just now on KSA. We're gonna establish KSA first at the moment. So once we're done with KSA, we're always gonna, keep on going to different countries, expanding it there.
And obviously, this relationship sitting here today, I think it's going to be something we're going to see more and more of, right? International families are coming to the Emirates to build a new hub and a new, I would say, future, right? The world is a funny place at the moment, but the UAE and the Middle East seem to be doing okay. So, Jonathan, why, given that the family's had a lot of success in Europe, given that your tech company is very international, why the UAE?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, probably. The first is there's a real opportunity. The real opportunity to grow the region. The timing is right. I've spent the last 12 years now in Singapore, and I saw Singapore grow up from, something that was already pretty well established to something phenomenal that it is now. And I'm seeing that same growth here in the region as well. And that is super exciting to be just a part of. The second is, and it's a little bit to the point of building relationships. Anyone all of us know that we build businesses, we build families, we build family businesses around relationships, whether it's within the family, but also across family. Right? And I think a lot of it is about, okay, we're going to establish here and build opportunities here, bring in knowledge, bring in, some things that we can add value into. But simultaneously, if Ahmed comes to me and says, hey, Singapore or Luxembourg or, Germany or wherever, these are really interesting places, can you help us out? That's a new connection that's been built, right? That we can help with, and simultaneously vice versa as well. I think that is what we're doing here today, and I'm seeing a lot of opportunity here, with friends of mine who are already here, family does here, just building that future out as an international.
COP28 next week. You're obviously an agriculture fan. Do you look in the family group and think, we want to be more sustainable, we want to take care of this planet more and more? Is that part of your agenda for moving forward?
Yeah, that is part of our agenda. We, look, I am in the agriculture side that much, but we have a sector which is just for sustainability. We have two companies which can complement each other. So one of them is for the food waste machine that can recycle the food into soil. And we have the other one that can recycle bottles, plastic bottles. So these machines can complement each other. That is a step forward for us for sustainability. So it's we are focusing a lot into sustainability because it's not just the UAE target. It's even for the family offices target. So yeah, it is one of our focus to keep it sustainability. And for COP28, we are going to be attending COP28, and we are going to try to do something with them. But it is one of our focuses to be sustainability.
Very good. And Jonathan, what about you? What's your view on the 8th generation being more sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, it's
turned you off.
Yeah, it turned me off. Hello?
It's all right, you're back. Are you back? Keep speaking. Sing into it.
Okay, I think it's going to work. Can anyone hear me?
No.
I don't think it's working.
They've had enough of Jonathan today. He's been on twice.
Let's see if this works now. No?
Any luck? If not, move up one.
All right, I'm moving.
We'll keep you going.
Does this one work?
There you go.
Okay. So in terms of COP28, I think for me, it's a little bit twofold. One, as a supply chain technology company, there is obviously a lot of influence in terms of sustainability, in terms of, not just reporting, but also optimizing supply chains that we do and decreasing emissions. That is phenomenally interesting. But then secondly, and more importantly, actually, as, from a family office perspective, sustainability has always been top of mind before sustainability even became interesting, right, in the last few years. And I think it's very much about, okay, how do you, again, put in those values to bringing in, new knowledge about how do we become more sustainable, as a nation, within the UAE, globally, and being able to bring that together. So similar to Ahmed in that sense.
And I guess back to Ahmed about what's next in the family portal. I mean, you've got family members sitting here today. How important is it to kind of keep family members associated with business and not let brothers be doctors or go and let your sister go and work in the government? Is your family very much kind of like, let's do this together? And is that going to be your focus moving forward?
Yeah, of course. It is one of our focus with the families. But, we can always let them gain experience outside the company first. Let them work outside. Like, for example, one of my brother works in Eldar.
Yeah.
He gains experience there. Once he's done, he's always going to be back there, his core. So, yeah, that's what is our target, We're all going to be, at the end of the day, we're all going to be under Anway's group.
Brilliant. And a lot of the people here who aren't from Abu Dhabi, I mean, approaching sometimes these big family conglomerates is quite intimidating because you're large and you have this huge dynasty. I mean, what is it what's the advice you would give to somebody when approaching a family group like you in Abu Dhabi? Because a lot of people come in, they see the bright lights of the UAE, they hear that Abu Dhabi's got loads of money from oil. What's the advice you can give to a startup founder coming to the Al Nuwais group, and looking to do business?
My advice would be, before approaching us, I would like them to study the market here, not just in Abu Dhabi. Study the market in the UAE, to know what's happening, to know which company they're trying to target, to know what type of, it depends on what company you are. It depends if you're an oil and gas sector, I want you to approach me and tell me, oh, okay, Ahmed, I'm going to give you my company profile. Please read. I have a list of companies that I have studied on here in the region. But, some companies approach me without, even a company profile. They just jump in straight away and tell me, okay, I want to do something with you. But for me, it's not all about the business. I want to build a relationship first with you. I want to know about you, not just the company. I want to understand how good you are, not just the company. So it all depends on building relationship first. After that, I get to know about your company, and after that, we can discuss about the business and see how we can work together. So that's how I do my business.
Because culture is different here.
Yeah, it is part of the culture first. I have to get to know you. Yeah. As Ubaida, I want to get to know you first, not just the company, what you represent, and what position are you in. So I want to know you, what do you like to do.
I still remember we had a coffee, and I wasn't one of those people who disappeared. Hello, you didn't give me what I wanted.
Yes.
So okay, bye. We're not going to talk again. We've kept in relationship softly. We support each other on LinkedIn, and now you're here today supporting my event. Yes. So again, it's that slow process of just like back and forth.
Exactly.
So over to Jonathan. I guess away from the co-founder, because you are very clever, the family office itself, what's exciting for you next year as a family office? Or you're more than happy to boast your own company, free platform here.
Sorry, did you say next year or next generation?
Next year.
Next
year.
It's
given now you're in the Emirates, operating from here.
Right. I think for me, the most exciting part for the family office is really about how do we bring in more technology, within some of the portfolio, actually. A lot of the portfolio is managed in a very quote-unquote archaic way, I would say. And that's just because of the generations that's been built out, because of the structures that's been built out. A lot of legacy, and legacy is hard to move. That's just the way it is. And really, I think for me, it's about, okay, we have warehouses, industrial sites. How do we move technology more into that? and how do we propel technology more into those sites? How can we get the family to be more, to doing that more, and our team to do that more? So I think really that's going to be my focus over the next year. The second would be actually philanthropy focused. A lot of what we've done on the philanthropic side has been very structured and not necessarily efficient. And I think we're looking, and I'm pushing those endeavors with some of the family of how do we build a more efficient way of looking at philanthropy and to be more effective, essentially.
Given that you're a successful co-founder of a business, when you look at new technologies, are you more harsh and diligent on them? Given like most family offices invest in VC funds, there's like, you're an expert in AI, you're an expert in biotech, here, have my money, take your management fee, good to go. Make me money, right? Would you say your family office would like to do that in-house because you have a good experience of what AI looks like or what tech looks like?
The irony is we don't really invest in technology. So let's start there.
It sounds like you will be.
Yes, I mean, that's certainly part of my drive. But yes, 100%, right? So even the investments that I've done personally and the few investments that we have done, we've been a lot more diligent. We've been very strict on what is actually under the hood and being able to look at the technological capabilities underneath. And honestly, that's, I think, where it all starts. If you don't have a product, if you don't have sound technology, then you're not going to get anywhere. You can build everything you want around it. You're not going to get very far. So yes, we are definitely more diligent from that perspective within the limited investments that we've done. Personally, 100%. And sure, is that driven because of my other background in building a technology company? Yeah, probably.
And last question for Ahmed. I always said, this is from my perspective, I always said that coming into the Emirates, you want to understand the business relationship. So if I'm a VC manager, I come in and say, I want your money because I'm good at investing in tech companies. And you say, well, hang on a second, we're pretty successful ourselves. We know how to run companies. So would you say the Al Noace Group, you like to operate, or do you like to kind of dab your toes in new industries? How do you operate in that type of area?
Al Noace Group is, it's always in hand.
Yeah.
We're always in the field with them. We don't like to just invest on it or do some part of it and let it go. We're always with them from the start until the end.
And you want to learn with the journey, exactly. Right? You want to go with them and
yes.
support them.
Because, we have, it's not just me, it's all my brothers and my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So we all like to do, if we start something, we want to finish it together. So that's how we do it.
And it's not just you, it's also, that's kind of the culture here.
Exactly.
It's like you've built this country in the last 52 years.
It is the culture, but there are some people who are just, they invest in it and
agreed, yeah.
Let it go. But, we like to keep our hand, we like to make our hand dirty with them.
Yeah.
We like to join, even if they
and also learn with them, because a lot of these technologies are new. Like, nobody's an expert in some of them. So they're more like, okay, let's do it together. Let's do a little bit. Let's do a little bit more. And then we kind of push. So if I'm a tech company from America, I'm very successful there. I'm coming to the UAE. I come to the Al Noace Group and I say, we want to expand into this market. And you're saying, of course, we see the potential of this technology and we'll do it together. Mm-hmm. That approach is better than coming in saying, give me money to my company in the US and I'll make you money in the next 4 or 5 years. At that point, you're like, I'm not interested, right?
Exactly, yeah. That's how we do it. It's either if you want us, we can work with you together.
Well, let's leave on that note. If you want us, we can work together. I love that. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for your time.